So, hello dear friends, and my name is Daria Bespalova, and today I will be the host of this amazing event. As a famous proverb says, all new is well forgotten old. Very few know that our original format is the analog of TED Talk conferences which are conducted in English. So, we have revived our old but gold conferences in the English language. And today, we propose that you travel to different epochs and several parts of the world to analyze actual issues in the modern world. And unfortunately, fiction literature is not as popular as it used to be. It was fiction that inspired people on their way to success. So, is the book Second History Hand or The Clock Mechanism of Success? Marieta Manukyan, a first-year journalism student, is going to present us her speech and answer this question.
All the world, literature. And all the men and women are merely heroes on its pages. Do you agree that the authors of literary works could have influenced the greatest minds of different times as well as having bent the arc of history? Good afternoon. My name is Marieta Manukyan. I am a first-year journalism student, and to verify what I've said earlier, I suggest you to analyze several mathematical expressions. So let's take the date of birth of Mikhail Yurievich Lermontov, 1814, and add to it 100. In 1914, people heard the whooshing sounds over their heads, hopeless moans of mothers, terrible crying of children instead of bird songs. If we add up 1814 with 200, we'll get the Year of Fear, which was marked by the biggest terrorist attack in our country. The militants took more than 1,000 hostages at a Beslan school. Let's take the date of the great poet's death and add to it 100 once again. And we'll get the year of the beginning of the Great Patriotic War, the main tragedy of the last century. Let's add another 50, and we see the disappearance of the Soviet Union from the political world map. The most problems we've been analyzing right now were firstly detected by Akhmatova. She claimed that each anniversary from the great poet's death or birth reverberates Russia. I'm not a fatalist and do not believe in improbable coincidences, but these mathematical transformations illustrate how almost all fundamental changes in the world can be glimpsed through the prism of literature. And it's feasible not just to glimpse at these events, but also to understand them in greater depth. Generally, it might be objected that instead of Tolstoy's War and Peace, it's better to read the works of brilliant Tyrell, where there is no room for fiction, where all events are described strictly, clearly, allowing the reader to identify cause and effect relationships. I don't deny the importance of studying history, because its knowledge enables us to be failed to make the mistakes of the past in the chronicles of future. But only fiction permits us to immerse ourselves in the historical past and reconstruct it imaginatively. One of the most widely read German authors of the last century, Feuchtwanger, confessed, "I have read many theoretical works about Imperial Russia, but for the first time it was revealed to me only in the books of Tolstoy and Chekhov. I learned the Soviet Union from the works of Mayakovsky and Sholokhov." I think it's fair to say that there is always a great book behind every great event. This process can be compared to a chain reaction, in which the writer's pen is a byproduct that causes additional chemical processes. The most striking example that can confirm this statement is the uprising of the Decembrists, whose thoughts expressed in poetry strengthened revolutionary mood in society. Books are a source of inspiration and even the medicine of a soul. Have you ever noticed what actions you perform when someone has told you bad news? According to statistics, you take out a pin of favorite ice cream, turn on your favorite movie, or nervously scroll through the social media to get away from the cruel reality. But wouldn't it be better open a book and find there a response to the questions that concern us? Find out something that will help solve the problem and make real life meaningful again. That's what people did before the invention of the internet. So did Einstein, Mahatma Gandhi, Freud, and many others. What's the thing that ties all of them together? Geniality, talent, hard work. First and foremost, the book that each of them inspired to succeed. So Einstein admitted that Dostoevsky gave him more than Gauss, whose work helped him discover the theory of relativity. In the novel The Brothers Karamazovs, Ivan Karamazov tells Alyosha, two parallel lines, which according to Euclid can never meet on Earth, may meet somewhere in infinity. Einstein, after reading The Brothers Karamazovs, began indeed to consider physical processes in a non-Euclidean four-dimensional space. And Dostoevsky even foresees the rejection of this theory, which is exactly what happened. Politicians and scientists did not agree with him, and therefore he left Germany forever. The work of the same author also helped the great psychoanalyst Freud during the analysis of a father-mother-child triangle and the treatment of a 5-year-old boy Hans. The child suffered from a neurotic disease, zoophobia. He claimed that the horse could bite him. Freud repeatedly refers to the Crime and Punishment of Dostoevsky because Rodion Raskolnikov sees, like Hans in a dream, a cruel scene of a murder of a horse. Behind this fear, there is, according to Freud, a deep-lying unconscious feeling that the child may be punished for his bad desires. And here lies the secret of a child-parent relationship. Meanwhile, Dostoevsky was not the only one who amazed great people. Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the Indian nation, after reading The Kingdom of God Within You, claimed that all other books seemed to him insignificant. Tolstoy's main theory of non-resistance to evil by violence inspired Gandhi to the law of non-violence and the fight against the racial discrimination. From his memoirs, we find out that Tolstoy was the main spiritual teacher for him. It's amazing how people living on different ends of the earth thought exactly the same way.
Now, have any of you guys ever seen one of these bad things for real?
Nowadays, the pace is accelerating. Books are shrinking in volume. Abridged edition, retelling, extract. Ray Bradbury's dystopia, published in the last century, is more and more resembling the modern society. The main distinguishing feature is the absence of firefighters burning literary works. Of course, we don't burn books, but there is a crime worse than burning books. For example, not to read them, as writes Bradbury. A Zoom survey conducted in 2021 showed that a third of Russians haven't read a single book in a year. This is the reality we have now. We didn't need a time machine to find ourselves in the seemingly distant future which was described by the fiction writers of the last century. We are rapidly and confidently striding towards the door that opens a dark and scary world in which reading, free thinking is prohibited, in which people haven't formed their vital principles, the ability to think outside the box and go beyond the square. Are we probably waiting on the doorstep of this door, or creating a key that fits the keyhole? Or probably we have already crossed the threshold of this door, but simply didn't realize how we thereby crossed the fine line between good and evil. Anyway, we already have tracking devices, social networks, 3D images, the creation of which was predicted by an American writer of the last century. So let's limit ourselves with this and not bring everything to such a sad outcome. Let's dispel the gloomy fantasy. Let's create a wonderful future in which there will be no vices and crimes. And for that, we will thoroughly approach reading, because books are only one type of receptacle where we stored a lot of things we were afraid we might forget. There is nothing magical in them at all. The magic is in what books say and how they stitch the patches of our universe together into one garment for us. Thank you for your attention. If you want to know more about the books that inspired great people and that inspire me, please scan the QR code and download the file I had prepared for you. Thank you.
So, nowadays, photography is a popular hobby as technologies are becoming more affordable, but not every photo is an art. There are some disputes that is a photography a more objective view of life or more individual, connected to the notion of the photographer. Ariana Alexandrova, a first-year PR student, will provide us with her opinion on this matter.
Hello everyone, I'm so glad to see you all here. My name is Ariana and I'm the first year PR student. Can photography be called art? We are used to the fact that art is a craft that takes years, like paintings or sculptures, and photography is considered to be something very simple and ordinary to perform. I myself have often heard that photographers are not masters because they do not create something new, but simply point the camera at what already exists and take a picture. Almost every day, we use the cameras of our smartphones to take photos, and we shoot absolutely everything. I have about 12,000 pictures in my camera roll. We take photos of our breakfasts. We make mirror looks. We shoot sunsets, or even homework written on a blackboard. It has already become a kind of habit and routine, and photography has become available to everyone with the advent of smartphones. But then what should people who are photographers by profession do in a world where everyone can try themselves in that role? And I'll tell them what to do. They should create history and art. The photo is unique. It stores moments that are probably long gone from memory. In order to make a truly masterpiece picture, you need, of course, to know how to hold the camera, feel the light and composition. But there is one point that puts all of the above into the background. This is the ability to awaken feelings and emotions in a person through a frame. And it is the one who possesses this skill that can be called a real photographer. But how to do it? You should really love this art. You know, the great Quentin Tarantino once said the same thing about cinema. You don't need to know how to make a movie. If you truly love cinema with all your heart and with enough passion, you can't help but make a good movie. You don't need to go to school. You don't need to know the lens like 40 and 50. None of that is important. If you just truly love cinema, you can't help but make a good movie. And the same thing can be said about photography, and I totally agree with it. But why do I bring up this topic at all? Because I'm a photographer myself. And now, I am going to ask you to open the envelopes which are lying at the edge of your tables. Please take the envelopes and pass them to the person sitting next to you. Okay, attention please. I will put my microphone away for a minute. Open the envelope. Now please, look at these two photos carefully. Look at them and decide for yourself which one causes more emotions and feelings inside you, and which, in your opinion, carries a story. Now please raise the selected option. Thank you so much. As we can see, the most of you have chosen the black and white picture, and I have an explanation for this. One day, I came up with the idea to rent a studio and arrange a mini photo shoot for me and for my sister. We didn't have a photographer. The only thing we had was my dad's camera, which got lost among his things, which we quickly found a use for. And here is the result. This is what the first photo shoot I conducted looks like. Please remember these photos and the character on it. It is my sister who will later become my main muse. And you know, these pictures are actually not that bad because the lighting seems to fit very neatly, the color correction is pretty good, and the model, I think, copied her task perfectly. But there is no soul in it. These pictures do not contain those accumulated inner experiences that spill out and are reflected in my works. For clarity, I'm going to show you one of our most recent photo shoots with a difference of almost 3 years. These photos show the same model and the camera is in the hands of the same person, but the changes are felt because during these 3 years, a strong love for this art has awakened in me. I conducted a mini survey among my friends in order to find out what people feel when looking at these two different pictures. If we summarize all the answers, then in the first case, people caught only what they saw. Lightness, soft and warm shades. Someone said they didn't experience anything but could only see a picture for an avatar in social media. Now let's move on to the second photo, and here is what I heard about it. Confidence comes from the model. Someone said about infinity. Someone began to plunge deeper and deeper. The main difference between these two pictures is that in the second case, each viewer will tell his own story and describe his own vision of what is happening. And this is what I meant when I said that photography should awaken special feelings that are unlike anything else. Do you know what is the most important and pleasant thing in the work of a photographer? This is far from the end result. Not money, not fame. Well, fame is actually pretty good, but this is not the main thing. This is the process of shooting when I feel like an artist and perceive my models as muses. After a certain time, I realized that I had learned to pick up the keys for everyone their own so that they would open the unknown and hidden sides of the soul. What do I mean by that? Look at this girl. She is beautiful. She is graceful. And look at how I managed to catch the feelings and emotions bubbling inside her. Or here, a stunning and gorgeous woman. And look at what she is capable of in the hands of the master. It is necessary to find an approach to each muse. It is necessary to choose the right and comfortable environment in which she can open up and trust you. And of course, it is of great importance to not only see the finished work, but also their reactions and emotions of people after they looked at themselves from the outside. You know, sometimes the girls even told me that at first they didn't recognize themselves in the pictures, and this is not because of Photoshop, not because of Facetune. This is because they didn't hide their feelings. Their soul came to the fore. They didn't wear any mask. And you know, their emotions inspire me, motivate me, and bring me the most sincere joy, each time convincing me that I am doing everything right and moving in the direction I need. Now I want to show you another example of how art meets photography in the photos I took. This is a series called 4 Stages of Grief. Denial, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Flowers in these pictures symbolize difficulties that are encountered on the path of each of us. And as you can see, they have a different interaction with the person in each photo. But why did I choose such a beautiful thing as flowers to personify challenges? This is because we should see something beautiful in obstacles, something thanks to which we can flourish. And the challenges bring our life make us motivated, bring our life joy, and make us get better. Now I hope that after such a good promotion, you would like to have a photo shoot. And if you do, Here is my phone number and the QR code to my page. You can scan it. You can text me wherever you want. I'm open to all the new experiences and your ideas. And see you in the studio. Thank you so much.
So, religious matters remain controversial in all societies. Islam is full of rules and restrictions for believers. Some of them make people be in two minds about the role of women in the society. Blessed or oppressed? That is the question that was chosen by Izabella Kereytova, four-year International Economic Relations student. And now, let's listen to her speech.
Hello everyone. Katya will kill me after this presentation because I was 3 hours late for this meeting. Sorry. Okay, guys, I'm so happy to see you, so many of you here. My name is Isabella and I'm fourth year student of International Economic Relations. The next slide. It's me, right? Is there anyone who has watched this episode? Yes? Yes, no, yes, right? 4 girls decided to escape from Dagestan and leave their families just because they were exposed to so-called abuse from their parents and community. Ksenia Sobchak in this episode emphasizes how poor the girls are and how terrible and unbearable their lives are. Let's see why.
Сначала накрываешь стол для родителей, чтобы они позавтракали, а потом уборка по дому полностью, потом следить за младшими братьями, помогать маме по дому, готовка и приносить все, что нужно отцу, там пульт, телефон, куртку, обувь, все вот это.
Yeah, it's quite overwhelming, isn't it? Yeah, more than 4 million people. Next slide. Yeah, I need your help, Dasha. More than 4 million people have watched this episode, and most people's comments look like this one. People stick to the opinion that Muslim women have absolutely no rights. No right to receive education, no right to be loved, no right to be happy. Actually, people do believe that it's Islam that forces poor girls leave their families and seek freedom far away from their home. Is it true? I want to tell you a story, but first I want to ask you a simple question. What words first come to your mind when you see or maybe hear the phrase a Muslim woman? Please scan the QR code and write down one word. Let's see. Let's see what your answers are. We're gonna show it. No freedom, строгость. In English, please. Oppression, gorgeous. Oppression. Beauty, hijab. In English. Okay. I think the picture is quite clear, right? Let's proceed to our presentation. Well, oppression is a nice word that I have pleasure to hear from time to time from my non-Muslim acquaintances. I want to tell you a short story. In 2021, I was happy to spend a semester abroad, spending a great semester with my European friends and studying in one of the most prestigious universities in France. And once my group mates approached me and told me, Isabella, how come? You are Russian and you haven't ever tried vodka, you haven't ever tried actually drinking alcohol, you haven't ever tried smoking, you do not go to the bars and clubs with us. What's wrong with you, girl? I was kind of, I was puzzled, really. And you know what I told? Yes, I'm a Russian citizen and Russia is my country, but actually I come from the area which mostly consists of Muslim population, and it's forbidden in our religion neither to smoke, nor to drink, nor to eat pork, and many, many nors. Actually, my friend, she was really puzzled as well. She concluded, Isabella, you are definitely oppressed. You know what I told her? I said, I'm blessed, girl. I'm genuinely blessed. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of what I am. I'm proud of what religion I belong to. And I'm gonna show you why. I want to take you back into the past, to pre-Islamic Arabia, and in order to see what was there, what was before Islam, there was infanticide. You know what it is? Nope. Actually, it was a practice to kill newborn girls as an infant because they were considered a burden on the family. This practice was quite prevalent among a lot of tribes in the region, including the dominant tribe, the Quraysh. Probably you heard that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came from this very tribe. And actually, as Islam spread throughout Arabia, this practice gradually declined. And families and parents, they started to see their daughters as a blessing rather than a burden, you see? The next fact is probably addressed to men rather than women. Nowadays, men call each other henpecked. They say, you are weak, you are not a strong man, you are Jinkin Lev, yes? But actually, boys, do not be afraid. That was also the same in pre-Islamic Arabia. But the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, actually there's a great historical example. He came along and changed all of that. He honored his wife in public. He taught us a lesson that women are to be treated with respect, right, and with dignity. He actually mentioned his favorite human being. And you know who it was? It was his wife, Aisha. Actually, she played a central role also in transmitting hadith. I will tell you about her later. Okay, probably you are acquainted with this picture, right, with this painting. It is quite familiar to you. This is Unequal Marriage, which was painted in 1862. This story took place in the 19th century. And men in those times, parents, they forced their children to marry different people who were much older, much richer, right? But actually, this girl whose face illuminating sadness, she was forced by her parents to marry a guy who's much older, right? Obviously. If these people were Muslims, this painting would never ever dare to be painted. It would never ever existed. Why? Did you know that Islam takes a woman's opinion into consideration when it comes to marriage? Women have the right either to reject or to accept the proposal. Actually, also, the Holy Quran states, O you who have believed, it is not lawful for you to inherit women by compulsion. It means that one of the most famous and still popular Caucasian traditions, bride kidnapping, actually it's the greatest fears of my grandmother and the reason why she doesn't allow me to go to any weddings alone. It is forbidden not only by legal law, but also by Islamic law. The next fact is actually one of the mind-blowing facts that I've learned myself. Girls, if you have fallen in love with someone and this guy is kind of hesitating, you can approach him and propose to him. That's quite appropriate, right? Actually, there is an interesting fact that Khadija, who was the first wife, Leila, hello. Khadija, who was the first wife of the Prophet, she was one of the prosperous and famous businesswomen of those times. She was impressed by the truthfulness and by the honesty of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and she approached him and proposed to him, and he accepted her proposals, and they got married. The next fact, probably you know the plot of the Pride and Prejudice, right? Yes? Men in the 19th century had the right to inherit property. However, in the Bennet family, there were only girls, 5 girls, and their mother was crazy about finding a husband to their girls just because they could inherit some property and money. However, if these people were Muslims, it would be much easier for them. Why? Because in our religion, both men and women are entitled to property inheritance. And the Holy Quran states, from what is left by parents and those nearest related, there is a share for men and a share for women, whether the property be small or large, a determined share. Do you recall the moment when girls stated that they didn't have the opportunity to attend universities, to receive education, right? Actually, that is quite contrary to the truth, because in Islam, women are encouraged to seek knowledge. they are encouraged to get education. Actually, the first words which were revealed to the Prophet Muhammad was the word ikra, which means read or recite. Moreover, just a great fact that I've learned myself, in 859, the oldest running university in Morocco was founded by a woman. Her name was Fatima Al-Gahar. 859. Can you imagine that? The next fact is, one time, once my friend approached me and said, Isabella, you know, if you decide to cover your body, if you decide to wear hijab, you'll never ever be free. You'll never be happy. I was quite astonished and I was puzzled at the same time. And probably according to many of you here, hijab acts as a sign of oppression, right? Right? You're supposed to say yes. But actually, what is it, hijab for Muslim women? Actually, it is a sign of modesty. It is a sign of religious observance. It helps Muslim women to fulfill their religious obligation. Moreover, acting as a role as a shielding, as a protective shield, it helps women to protect themselves and not to be treated as sexual objects. Isn't it what millions of feminists stand for? And at the end of the day, women are treated as who they are rather than how their body looks. And I want to draw your attention to 4 quite cute pictures. Let's read them out together. When a Muslim girl is born, she becomes a reason for her parents to enter the paradise. When she grows up and marries a man, she completes half of his religion. When she becomes a mother, paradise comes under her feet. I want to conclude. Muslim women have a lot of rights. They are valid, they are appreciated, they are treated with dignity and respect. However, we should separate culture and religion. Sometimes cultural beliefs and traditions do not reflect the true teachings of Islam. And please remember that Muslim women are blessed. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Is there anyone in the auditorium who doesn't have any fears? Who is not afraid of making mistakes and is brave enough to realize the most ambitious dreams? Elina Ismunc, 4-year international economic relations student, has built her own business and now will give you a detailed presentation about her way to success at the end of your comfort zone.
Hello everyone, my name is Elina Исмунц and I'm the 4th-year student of International Economic Relationship. I would like to start my speech with a couple of striking facts. Have you ever got to know Joan Rowling? By the way, most of us were brought up on her novels, but few of us knows about her rocky path. By the way, how many times she tried to publish her book? 14 times. Did it end with success? Absolutely, and it encouraged millions of hearts with such true feelings as love, braveness, friendship, and hope. Monroe's first contract with Columbia Pictures was terminated. Producers told her she was not beautiful and talented enough to be an actress. Monroe continued to pursue her roles and became one of the most legendary characters in Hollywood. As you have already captured the idea, I'm going to talk about where's your own way to success. Since early childhood, I've been the #1 fan of Monica Bellucci. Ask me why. I know you will tell me here's a great number of women who are prettier than she, who has a greater body shape than she, but Monica is a nature. Look at her, minimal of makeup on her, simple but mesmerizing clothes on her. She just underlines her nature beauty. Nowadays, girls seek to hide in the nature. They just make idols from inanely beautiful women and they try to be a copy. The idea of Monica is not to be a copy. Be yourself. So nowadays the statistics shows that few girls put on dresses. They either take miniskirts or jeans with hoodies. By the way, would you prefer a glance on the one in hoodie or on the one in dress? I believe on the one in dress, and this was the final force that persuaded me to establish my personal propaganda of beauty. So once the idea of my brand was born in Ossetia. Once I was invited to a wedding and I had nothing to put on. I decided to borrow some outfits from my younger sister, but she told me, Elina, don't touch it, please. Pick up your own one. So that's why I had to do some shopping over the fabric stores, and I fell in love. I understood I could make it for every girl. And today I would like to dive with you into the initiation of my brand's way. It was full of risks and fears, along with a strong belief. Nowadays, Jamaloon for me is a white paper on which I can draw whatever I want. And I love the way I do it, utilizing creativity with no limits. I was brought up in the family with 3 sisters and 1 brother, and I'm the eldest one. So I was always held responsible for the youngest, and this trait of character helped me in the very beginning because I stood really strong while facing any difficulties. So Jamaloon is like a kid. You cannot leave it even for a while. Girls used to text me even at nights, Elina, I need a corset, I need a suit for my graduation. So once at the final test for English class, I got a message from my employee, Elina, a stranger entered our shop. What should I do? So I'm at the final test. My teachers from MGIMO hates me for being stuck in my phone 24/7, but I just stay in touch with my stuff. He just used our restroom with the words, oh, sorry, where is my psychologist, Anastasia Vladimirovna? What? Dozens of questions. So, please, the next slide. This experience awarded me with such qualification like believe in myself. It's common for all of us not to believe in ourselves, and the most difficult thing is the first step up. While creating the first collection, I was sure nobody would adore it. It was a super secret. Nobody knew that this brand is mine. And nowadays, it resonates in dozens of hearts. But I'm going to bring this wheel back to Coco Chanel's time. Even 4 months ago, my mom told me, Elina, start producing more dresses. It's in demand. I responded, no, nobody would buy hundreds of these dresses. And the problem I'm facing right now is the shortage in stock and the high demand. So nowadays, I'm looking for a bigger production in order to produce more. Tomorrow, after tomorrow, and soon I'll face another difficulties. As we believe in Russia, the deeper in the forest, the scarier. And this game won't be any longer easy, but I'm going to fight any monster in this game. So, okay guys, to make sure you understand, here's the 2 types of clients. The first one is super happy with obtaining my dress. She brings me in extra emotions. And the second one is super crazy and dissatisfied. I don't know why. Dozens of questions. I just sent her a message, just sent her a smile. Dozens of questions, but no answer. Guys, please be gentle while treating to her stuff. So, during these 2 years, I faced a row of difficulties, but it wasn't an obstacle for me. Once my mom told me, your growth starts where your fear ends. And then I understood that I have to leave all my fears right now and right here. So, if you would spend as much time on your dreams as you spend on your fears, you won't need keys from the doors. You will just break it. Don't let your fear hold you back from living your best life. Remember that every great achievement starts from a small step. So now, having died in this fear, I can tell you, the new epoch of female elegance is knocking at the door. And even if your dream is far, far away, you should know that you can much more than you think. So, here's the quote by Nelson Mandela. I learned that courage is not the absence of the fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who doesn't feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. Was the story about the fearless girl? No, it was about the braveness that boosted overcoming the fears and believe in yourself. Come to my boutique and I will not only dress you up, but will also help you believe in yourself and bloom. Please open the cards and 3 of you will get a 10% discount to my boutique. Thank you so much.
There are so many different cultures near us. Even at Mgimo, you can meet students from various parts of the world. But how do we distinguish them from each other? Is it necessary to wear traditional or national costumes to stay true to your nationality? Armine Kalendzyan, a 4th-year international economic relations student, will give us a talk about how to stay true to yourself.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Armine, and today I'm going to talk about the dualism of the life of ethnic minorities in megapolises with dominance of modern culture. This is something that ChatGPT couldn't write, as the topic is extremely specific and intangible, though I believe it to be quite relatable, especially in our multinational country and in the culturally diverse community of Mgimo in particular. It's a bit nerve-wracking to be performing in front of all of you. Thank you. It is also, might seem a bit self-centric to discuss this issue on the basis of my personal example, but I hope it will make you feel less alone or to help you understand your close friends' daily reality better. So let's get into it. As you might know, it is hard to live in a society that lacks people like you in terms of appearance, family, upbringing, and so on. For my nationality, it is a big problem to save the culture, as its majority lives in different countries all over the world, making up the diaspora. It is even harder to remember where one came from when you live in a third or second generation of immigrants. This was the case when I was growing up in Moscow with almost no Armenians in my social circle. But at the same time, my father has always been a devoted patriot of our motherland, Armenia, even though we are Western Armenians, which means that we come from the territories that are now Turkish, what makes us even more isolated from our people. It was him who brought us up surrounded by national dances, music, language. We explored Armenia dozens of times, and this all has made us true representatives of our culture. Nevertheless, at school, I was never fully understood by my peers as they were far away from my culture. I was made fun about my appearance. I couldn't share my passionate love for my heritage with no one, and the outlook of my friends was not always in line with what I thought to be right. Regardless to that, I learned how to stay true to my origins and become a so-called life of the party by absorbing the best of both ideologies. As I believe that the main thing is not conservatism, but patriotism. And further on, I'll try to convince you that one can manage to promote and respect one's heritage and keep up with the times simultaneously. As some of you might know, I'm currently the president of the Armenian community of Mgimo, and it was hell of a journey to dive into the society that I was far from for many years. I faced a lot of criticism and misunderstandings concerning my style and my beliefs from people who do nothing in terms of promoting our common legacy, but stick to some outdated norms and formalities. I'm a strong advocate for the mindset that the main thing is knowing your heritage, your history, and culture to be a prominent representative of your nation. So an example of such public figure is Cher. Not everyone knows that her real name is Charlene Sarkisyan, and she has never denied her Armenian provenance. She donated millions of dollars to various charity programs in Armenia. What is more, she always raises awareness among her wide audience about the problems back in Armenia, and this makes Armenians more seen and heard. Let's watch a small video abstract with her to feel her vibes.
My mom said to me, you know, sweetheart, one day you should settle down and marry a rich man. And I said, Mom, I am a rich man, you know? I was the first woman. Yes, thank you. Can I hear a little commotion for the dress? A little bit?
for the back of the dress.
She is iconic, isn't she? So as you see, her attitude, her appearance, and her stance on life have never been conventional. She has always been a strong advocate for the equality between men and women, which is not only unusual for the old times, but for the traditional cultures in general. She is also the first woman to ever appear on television with her naked belly. However, this has never made her less Armenian, and to my mind, she's a true role model, and not only because of her personal success, but mostly due to the fact how she uses her global influence to promote interests of her nation. And the list of such prominent people goes on, including Jennifer Lopez for Puerto Rico, Rihanna for the Caribbeans, Natalia Vadianova and Irina Shayk for Russia, and Bella Hadid for Palestine. But you know, it is easy to, but in case when people are popular, it is easy to turn a blind eye to the facts that deviate from the common expectations. That is why I would like you to hear a great speech of Sara Al-Madani, who is a Dubai citizen, a successful tech and fashion entrepreneur, and a single mother. Please, your attention to the screen.
Kimmy, I'm Emirati. She has 68 tattoos. She's not covered. Where is the religion? Where is the culture? Where is that? First of all, religion is between me and God. Second thing is culture, society expectation. I am a soul with a human experience. This is a dress. If you don't like my dress, that's your problem, not mine. I am who I am. She was personally offended, she took it personally, that I did not look the way she expected me to look. Now, how does that make sense? You're upset because I don't look the way you expect me to look. Who are you? Why am I even matching your expectation? Why am I living a life just to satisfy you and to make you feel good, while I know a lot of people are hypocrites, because behind closed doors, a lot happens. I don't like this hypocrisy. What you see outside is what you see inside.
She said it all, and I couldn't do it better. Further on, there is an evident tendency in the world when countries try to shelter their national identity from the ubiquitous monoculture that has been prevailing in the world since the end of 20th century. Some nations rapidly vanish, being absorbed by the Western-oriented globalized culture. And this process is driven by political, economic, and social causes like immigration and financial dependence of the underdeveloped countries on the industrialized ones. As all countries are integrated in the world trade and are in a codependent position, the fusion of cultures is inevitable. But it comes with the problem of assimilation. When people migrate, they try to adapt to the new society, and to fit in, they often forget about their roots. The youth opts for the modern lifestyle that's main focuses are personal rights and individualism. Cherishing the past becomes needless. That is why the trend of localization is currently on the rise, and people try to save what's left from their cultures by applying for strict measures like religious radicalism, nationalism, closing borders, and so on. But to emphasize, I would like to underline that it is of utmost importance to embrace your heritage, as it enriches your mind and gives you a ground on which you can grow and develop, and it is something you can always revert to. What is also crucial is to be open to other cultures and what they can add to your mindset. Broad horizons are key to finding your place in this world, as you can create your own social circle where everyone respects each other and where people move together towards success instead of growing backwards and holding on to some rigid standards of the past. I believe this is all I wanted to tell you. I hope that I could deliver the message right, even though we have a very strict timetable. So thank you very much for your attention. If you want, you can follow me on Instagram. That's on the screen, but if not, it's okay.
Hypocrisy is a widespread phenomenon, not only in interpersonal relationships, but also in international relations. Individualism is both supported and heavily criticized. Double bind, empowering individualism in the community-oriented world, is the topic of our last but not least speaker, Melissa Yavuz, a first-year master's program journalism student. Please welcome.
Hello, everyone. Okay, I'd like to start with a very sensitive topic to me. You surely remember the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria. And you know, it happened 4 months ago, and we're still dealing with the consequences. It has affected my family, and you know, yesterday we learned that our house will be demolished. My aunt was rescued from a ruined house, and you know, my granny, my cousins, they stayed in caravans for over 2 weeks with no chargers, no food, only stray dogs, a great fear, and a huge, enormous desire to stay alive in order to start everything from the beginning the next day. However, do you remember the news? A few hours after the tragedy, Greece, Israel, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and many, many other countries, they offered financial and humanitarian support. So here is my question. Aren't we actually living in the community-oriented world? Isn't it a natural need of a human to help your neighbor, to share something with someone who is in need? And if so, what's wrong with our highly promoted individualistic society where, well, I'm sorry, where we just don't give a duck about anyone else's life? In this case, I'm not going to talk about sustainable development and many other socially significant things. No, I'm interested in the mindset of a human, of us, raised in an individualistic society. And by the way, have you updated your iPhones? Or okay, thank you. What about updating our society? I know that might sound a little childish, a little bit immature. However, what about calling our society personalistic and not individualistic 2.0? I'll try to explain why. And first of all, you need to understand that the way we name things means a lot. Fortunately or unfortunately, the only thing that I remember from school are these stages of personality development. And it goes individuality, and personality. Let me remind you a bit. Individuality is a person, an individ, well, that's obvious, that has some specific characteristics, natural, unique abilities that allow him to stand out from society. If we're talking about personality, as you see, that's a superior form of individuality, whose unique abilities are not only like special, unique, natural, but also socially significant. And we tend to think that individuality and personality means pretty the same. Aren't we see this every day in different lectures, different articles? However, individuality is the mode of being unique, regardless of society. And if we're talking about personality, that's the mode of being valuable and useful within society. So it's up to you which mode you would like to choose. And here I would like to ask you a question. What is the purpose of calling our society individualistic? You know, in the childhood, we perceive our world differently, and let me prove it. Could you please help me?
What makes you two different from each other?
I used to not like letters, but now I like letters. I do not like letters at all. Lucy loves tomato sauce, and I do like it, but I don't love it as much as Lucy.
That's true. So, as you understand, the only thing that can differentiate us is our attitude towards tomato sauce or lettuce. And such things as physical abilities, success, or our social status can't and shouldn't differentiate us. Then, getting older, we attend different master classes, workshops, mentoring courses, and other 1,000 courses which aim at honing our special skills, which aim at proving that we're better than others, that we're individualities. However, in addition, they aim at honing our special skills and raising our self-esteem. And here is my next question. Do we need to be estimated? Do you want to be estimated or judged by someone? Please clap if no. Thank you, me too. I also don't want to be judged by anyone else. However, let me disappoint you. You do want somewhere deep inside. What about likes? Aren't we checking our account in social media for 100 times in order to see if there are some new likes? And likes are exactly about estimating and judging. Then, getting older, we understand that the education system as well as entertainment sphere, they promote the idea of being the first, the second, the third, the best or the worst. And this division was made up by human, and this division exists only in our mind. And seemingly ordinary to all of us division, the first, the second, leads to the disintegration of our society. Because nowadays, among even more than 8 billion people, we sometimes still feel lonely. And okay, let me prove it.
To all of those recruiters, I have a job at my own company.
A very successful one. Maybe you should offer him a job.
But I am not offering her a job.
Oh, well then what are you asking me?
Are you lonely?
What?
Just asking if you're lonely.
Adam.
No. Just a question.
Everyone's lonely. This is a lonely world.
Well, sorry for pessimism, but indeed, that's a bit lonely world. Because, we created a crowd of very talented, very unique people who are sometimes absolutely indifferent to each other. We set up a world that represents a scoreboard. And by the way, these pictures were made by artificial intelligence, a bit scary. One to climb over the top, to be the best, to get the highest score at the end of the game, will be ready to go against personal values, to go against the well-being of society, to go against morality, to go against common sense. And let me give you an example. In Russia, there is a very, very well-known and popular singer and songwriter. And she attracts thousands of people. She writes songs, and I'm absolutely sure that all of you in here know the words from her songs, know lyrics of her songs. And it goes, "За деньги, да." Okay. I guess you know it. She's definitely unique. She's definitely special. But in my humble opinion, the only thing that she is driven by is being popular and earning some money. No complaints. I also want to be popular and I also want to earn money. I guess same as you. But having such influence over minds, she, by her own example, promotes the idea of living just for herself. And this is a time bomb for our society because this destroys the boundaries between us and it creates a world that represents a platform for competition. And what if instead of competing, we will start to complete each other? What if our world was made up of personalities, of people who are conscious enough to understand that the well-being of society is absolutely essential because of just one simple truth and paradox at the same time? We can't escape from society. We can't live apart from society. And if you would say that hiding from people at home with a good novel, a good Tarantino's film, good Netflix series, well, it doesn't mean escaping from society, because you are locking yourself at home with works and thus with thoughts of these talented people. And their presence, even not physical, influence your life. It affects your life. So, you know, previously, I didn't get the idea of being useful. I didn't get the idea of being valuable, but the understanding came to me as soon as I started teaching Turkish here in our university. And you know, there was no idea of proving my students that I know Turkish better than them. I can say, merhaba, nasılsın, iyi misin? No, definitely not. I was interested in sharing my knowledge, in sharing my expertise. You know, for a month and still now, I wanted to be useful, and it felt like really, really good. And you know, now I understand that they know the lyrics of the songs they're listening to. They can understand the difference between like inshallah and mashallah. They understand the benefits of Turkish language in their career. And this type of approach to your life or to your work can be adopted in absolutely any sphere. So our mission is to shift emphasis a bit from being the best to being valuable, and to be conscious and responsible enough to use our unique abilities, not, you know, in a way that will be positive not only for us, but also for others. Here is a fun fact. You know that cheetah stalks its prey just for 30 seconds. And if a delicious gazelle is not caught, then he makes a little break in order to restore its strength. But now let's look at us, people, dear people. We're stalking our goals, our career goals all day long, all life long, all month long, all week long, without a break, ruining our life, ruining relationship with our friends, with our relatives. And let me ask you, is it a conscious choice? Is it usually a conscious choice? Or are we just get stuck in this like endless, absolutely endless circle? Well, sorry, don't be scared, but where to start to change a bit our mindset and our perception of the world? First, I advise you to answer just 4 questions. Just for yourself. Is there something that you really love doing? The next question, are you good at it? That's great. And there is one more question. Do you get money for that? Great. And the last one, the most important one. Can it affect our society? Yes, definitely yes. If you have 4 yeses, then I think that we are moving in the right direction. And this is Japanese Ikigai philosophy, which is literally translated as meaning of life. It is based on these 3 S, satisfaction, social significance, and state of consciousness. If we're talking about personality, this is exactly about being personality. And if we're talking about individuality and individualistic society, then it's only about satisfaction and being the best. So as Henry Ford said, the way forward begins with the personality. The masses are nothing but sum of individuals. So I suggest you to find your superpowers and to share them. Thank you for your attention.
Of course, everyone is aware that our conference should have a special guest. A woman who came up with the idea of English language conferences. Welcome, the senior lecturer at the English Language Department number 3, Natavaan Ragimovna Abiyeva.
Today, I can see that I'm Students, this is really endless. But today I would like to tell you about my profession and career path. It was a very stony path with ups and downs, but I appreciate where I'm now. So let's start from the very beginning. Since my childhood, I've always wanted to be a lawyer. Legally Born, a hugely popular movie at that time, served as my inspiration. I believed I would be an excellent and outstanding criminal defense attorney and nobody would stop me. The thing is that nobody would try it. My parents supported me, on the contrary, they supported me in every possible way. So the day I decided to enroll in МГИМО was crucial for me. But back then I didn't realize how small. Thus I enrolled in МГИМО International Law Faculty. Frankly speaking, I wasn't an A-merit student, but without any effort I managed to ace all the Once I even came to the university to pass an exam, knowing nothing about the subject. Literally nothing. But my fellow students helped me out and gave me really cool trips, so I managed to get A. Please, keep in mind that being a student is one of the happiest periods of your life, when you live at your ease. Enjoy every second, not just reading books, preparing for seminars, or attending lectures. But still, don't forget about them. When I earned my master's degree from the same faculty and department, I decided to start working as a paralegal. It was hard. And as you all may understand now, it wasn't even close to the movie Legally Born. Not only was it disappointing, it was a total failure. The Russian system of justice wasn't functioning the way I expected it to at all. So after some discussion and thinking, I decided to try the civil law. I went on internship at the Federation Council of the Federal Assembly of the Russian Federation. By the way, it was where I started to drink tons of coffee every day just to get out of bed. I even took some coffee in my nephew's baby bottle on my way to work, as I had no takeaway cups at home back then. I wasn't used to it at all. So I worked hard. I worked a lot. Every project, report, or analysis I was working on was done appropriately, and all my department was shocked to have such an employee, especially from МГИМО. Yes, it sounded rather fancy. But I was proud to break stereotypes about МГИМО students who are constantly stigmatized. It may have been the end of my journey, but at that time I was getting engaged and preparing for the wedding, so I quit the job, which I really liked and may even have enjoyed till the end of my days. However, my fate was ahead. Thus, the only thing I realized after that experience, which was crucial for me, was that I couldn't live without work. After my best friend and I got married, it was almost during the same year, we decided to start some sort of business, as it's fashionable to say now, a startup. But my BFF opted to hire me rather than split the business. You know why? I remember it as where today her elder brother told her not to run any business with your friend if you didn't want to lose her. So, obviously I didn't resist. And yes, I just wanted to show you finished, I changed not only the profession, but the sphere of work as well, almost upside down. It was a very interesting time, full of energy, we were creative and young. We had a lot of photo shoots, interviews, events held. I really miss those times. Nevertheless, my journey continued as my friend decided to close her business. I was again left without work, but with a great desire to have money. And my eldest sister, as you all know her, Mgimo, offered me to try teaching English at Mgimo. Without even thinking, I agreed. At first, it was hard. I gave birth to my two babies somewhere in the middle of my journey as a lecturer and assistant professor. Ambiguous. But that was the job that had been waiting for me from the very beginning. Thanks to my sister and my genes, I managed to handle all the obstacles of this profession. This job, my students, and their energy helped me through all my hardships, even in my private life. Without even knowing it, they were giving me so much strength, light, and support. I still remember all of them from the first day of my living. But let's get back to the point about the genes mentioned above. After coming to this profession, I analyzed and realized that even my great-grandfather was a teacher of chemistry in Azerbaijan. My granny and my beloved and my best first niece was also a teacher of Russian language and literature in my mother. I loved her. So my three aunts, my mom's sister, and my father's two sisters as well. And finally, my eldest sister who ushered me into this profession. Hence, now you realize that it was my destiny and I couldn't escape. Overall, what was the gist of my speech? I just wanted to emphasize and show you all how important it is not to give up, to keep going and to try over and over again. Your vocation is waiting for you just around the corner. After all my experiences, I have worn my hands, but I didn't. Thanks to many circumstances, people around, my loved ones, and even humanity. So, always be confident and never give up. The best is on the way. And during all the hardships, the challenges, and troubles, always remember that the journey from legally blonde to a proud teacher may be long and bumpy, but it's worthwhile. At this point of my journey, it turns out that I wasn't destined to be blonde even legally. And I wasn't even destined to be legally brunette. But I was destined to be a teacher here to my beloved students, to you, my dearest and dearest.
That is all for today. We hope you all liked our conference and learned something new. All the debated topics are very important and should be discussed more often. We are looking forward to see you on our next event. With you was Let's Talk Mgimo. See you next time.